Hi, I'm Amy.
And I'm Debbie. We are Tessie Pearl, a community for widows. One of my first memories of money was when I was probably junior high. My dad was a doctor, and I started hearing from kids at school that, oh, you can have anything you want. Your dad's a doctor. And so that got passed on to my mom. She took the opportunity one evening to bring the family together, me and my siblings and dad. And she had a pile of Monopoly money, and she said, this is the amount of money your dad brings home every month. And then she took the amount out for the mortgage payment and utilities and food and braces and whatever else we had. And then this little pile at the end, this is what is left over for any fun that we might have this month. And I still see the pile of money on the coffee table. And that, I really appreciated my mom being honest with us as to where that money went, and that it wasn't all just for whatever we wanted to ask for at the time. And so I can't say I've always been good with money, but from a young age, that made me realize that what the responsibilities of my parents were, that they had to take care of.
That's so good. So good to recognize and to remember those young years of how are you taught about money, and that she took the time to actually teach you, and then to help you hopefully manage your money in the future. Our childhood memories and experiences really do shape how we feel about money, how we understand its fluidity in the world, and how we show up to it. I can remember I wasn't junior high, I was high school. And money had never been in abundance in my family. It had always felt like it was scarce. My family, there was a lot of dynamics going on, but at that time there were actually 11 children living in a little teeny tiny house that we rented in Southern California. Hers, mine situation, okay? And my dad had cancer. He was 35 and he was all of a sudden diagnosed with cancer. And he was, at that time, owned 2 transmission shops right in Northridge, California. And his cancer, we didn't have health care. And so we weren't sure how we were going to pay for his treatments. And all of a sudden then the Northridge earthquake hit. And one of his businesses was condemned. And the other one, he fell into a deep depression, and due to his physical and mental and emotional health, he lost the second one. So we were in a position of, we really have nothing. And how are we going to pay for life? And how are we going to also take care of him and his medical treatments? Because what are we going to do? And there was a hospital down there that was doing research on his specific kind of cancer that took him on as a research patient.
Wow, what a blessing.
It was huge, and it paid for his treatments. And I remember being so relieved. But my mind, even up until just even a couple weeks ago, only thought of the money. I'm so grateful that they paid for his treatments and that we didn't have to worry about that financial burden.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, I had this thought of, but he lived. He lived in that experience, and has my mind ever focused and rejoiced on the life? But those are the types of experiences that we have, that when there is a need, how are we responding to it based on our experiences with money growing up and with money presently in our lives? Yeah.
Now, I had the experience of, for a number of years, being a banker. And I worked with very, very wealthy people, and I would work with the advisors that I would try to invite couples to come in. But sometimes it was like pulling teeth to try to get them in together. Very often women just defer to their husband to do primarily the investing and stuff. And there is nothing in a man's DNA that makes it so he knows more than you do about investing. So there's none of that.
Yeah.
And women wear a lot of hats. I understand that, this is one thing I don't want to have to do. But women in general, we do not talk about money. And this is one thing I want to change very, very quickly in Tessie Pearl is it's okay to talk about money.
Yeah.
And we need to have a conversation about these things, because if you have a question, somebody else does as well.
Right.
We want to make sure that you have the opportunity to have a safe place, that we're not after your money to invest it. This is strictly educational. We are not giving any advice, but we want you to understand what products are designed for, how they can work with you and your plan. And that's another thing we want to do with Tessie Pearl is have them create their story and their life plan. How can we go about and help women do that?
Well, first I want to back up just a little bit. So we work on mindset. We work on how do we feel about money. We want to empower women to understand that they can manage their money. They can speak to their financial advisors with confidence and understanding what the products are that are being offered and selecting ones that mean the most to them. And then we also want to provide a way for each one of you to prepare your estate if you were to ever pass on, to die. And that it's okay to be prepared and to know where your assets are, where they're going, but above and beyond that, any little detail. And I'm sure with the death of a husband, you have felt already the many details surrounding that. And were you prepared? Were you not? Well, let's help you be prepared for when the time comes.
And even when women have been very involved in their day-to-day finances and in investments, they just find the burden of being a widow very challenging. And we recognize that you are all very capable women and you want to make wise decisions. They don't want to rely on somebody else to make their financial decisions. So we want this to be a safe, third party, neutral party that you can come and get your questions answered, bounce the ideas off of us, but we want you to confidently work with your advisor.
Yeah, and there's no such thing as a question that may seem too silly to ask. Any question
Never
is welcome.
dumb question.
Yeah, we're okay with feeling ignorant. We feel ignorant. We ask questions, and if we don't know the answers,
we
we'll
will
go
find them. Yeah. We don't know everything, but we will find the people that do know.
Yeah.
And we want you to be very, very comfortable with the decisions that you are making. We will be going through and helping you create a very comprehensive filing system to keep track of your household documents and financial documents. We don't want it to be overwhelming for anybody, so every week we will have an assignment of paperwork that you need to find, and we will get you set up so that as you pass it on to your family, it will all be very neat and tidy. And then while you're utilizing that filing system, it's not one to create, just set aside. It will be your active filing system for your household and your financial documents.
And the last thing we do is warn you of scammers. There's plenty. They're plentiful. So, do you want to describe that at all in any detail?
Well, and be aware, scammers target widows. They will actually go through obituaries and find the names of widows. And we don't want to scare you, but we do want you to be aware. I'm sure you get emails and phone calls and such, but we will keep you up to date on common scams so that you can keep you and your family safe.
Well, we look forward to working with you on all of your financial questions at Tessie Pearl. If you have any questions, please look us up at tessiepearl.com.
Please leave comments below, questions, comments, and things that you have found that have worked for you. Thank you for sharing your time today.